Facciamo anche qui. Welcome everyone. Sorry for the delay. To the Wines of Italy show that I've renamed a bit now, and as I told you all, it's a bit of a reboot of this live stream that will also turn into more of a podcast. As you can see, I'm back again with this kind of crazy hair, but the important thing is that it's growing, so that's cool. I will also drop a link to my newsletter in the comments, so anyone who wants to sign up for my newsletter can do so and get more info after this about Tenuta Gondi. Gorghi Tondi, sorry. And also I will now get in Marilena Leta so she can present herself, and we will learn more about winemaking in Sicily, close to Marsala. So welcome everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good evening or good morning, depending the area you are living in. My name is Marilena Leta. I'm marketing and communication coordinator for Tenuta Gorghi Tondi. That is a family business, a female family business, exactly. That it is located in Mazara del Vallo. We are southwest of Sicily, and 35 kilometers from Marsala. That is probably the most known area on that side of the island. And thanks to Caterina for hosting me tonight and to speak a little bit about this very peculiar area of Sicily that is probably one of the most ancient, but now not so well known as it was in the past, because in the past probably the Marsala production was the focus of the production on the island, while today when you think about Sicily, the first thing you have in mind is probably the volcano, so the Etna, exactly on the opposite side.
True. So let's start a bit until I think it always takes a bit of time before people start watching the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start a bit to talk about, I mean, you work with marketing for the Gorghi Tondi, but the owners are Annamaria and Clara Sala. So if you can do a short recap of the history of because they go back generations as vine growers and winemakers in the area around Marsala. So perhaps a bit short story about the estate. And the family.
So the family, so it's a family-run business, and today Annamaria and Clara, they are two sisters. They are the fourth generation. The winery has always been led by women because at the very beginning, it was the beginning of the 20th century. The estate was purchased by their two great-grandfather and mother, and especially their great-grandmother Dora was a woman definitely unconventional for that time, and especially for Sicily. Of course, she belonged to a middle class family. She could run workers in the vineyards. She could do the quality check. So it was definitely an unconventional situation for a woman in that time. And the great grandfathers decided to purchase the estate in that specific area. So we are on the coastal area of Mazara del Vallo. So 35 kilometers far from Marsala, because that area was the one sought after for the best grapes for the production of Marsala. The family business.
Just a second, if I interrupt you, because I think somebody said there is a problem with the audio. So I think Anne-Marie, who is from the US, let us know in a comment if you still have problems with the audio. Otherwise, we'll just continue. Because here I don't see any problems, but let's see. Okay, sorry. So just continue. You were talking about...
No problem at all. So at the beginning of the 20th century, the most sought after areas for Marsala production were those on the coast, where white grape varietals were grown, especially Grillo, Cataratto too. So these were the two most sought after grape varietals. And this was the reason why the family decided to purchase the estate. At the very beginning and up to 2000, the estate was just place where the grapes were picked and then sent to Marsala in a famous winery, because the family of Annamaria and Clara is one of the branches of Pellegrino family, so one of the
Okay.
historical producer of Marsala wine. So basically, the grapes were picked and transferred to Marsala for the production of the fortified wine. But in 2000, this piece of property decided to live a different life. So thanks to the father and mother of Annamaria and Clara, Michele Sala and Doretta Tumbarello, they started a completely new project that was definitely rooted in the area where the vineyards were growing. And this is why today the winery is called Gorghi Tondi Estate, Tenuta Gorghi Tondi. The Gorghi Tondi are basically some round lakes. The literal translation from Italian into English would be round whirlpools,
Yeah.
because we are very close, and some part of the vineyards lay basically inside a nature reserve that is a humid area. So you have lakes of karst origin, including a bigger lake, plus three round pools that are very deep, because they could be up to 15 meters deep, round, and basically the water filled in those big holes
Yeah.
on the soil, because the soil is made of limestone. So the limestone was little by little, completely spoiled by both the wind, the sun, and all the atmospheric phenomenon, plus the water coming from within. So today they are filled with water, and the Sicilian region started protecting this area already in the 80s. And in 1998, the WWF arrived, taking care of the entire area that covers 350 hectares. So it's a very big one. And we have vineyards, in total 35 hectares. So 1/10 of the of the nature reserve is with our vineyards inside. So
So
it's a very special place.
all the vineyards of Gorghi Tondi is inside the natural reserve.
Only 35 hectares, so one
Okay.
third. One third of the total property is inside of the nature reserve. This is why, since the beginning, we are organic. So we started the organic farming since the beginning. But of course, for the certification, we needed to wait for the canonical 3 years to the conversion. And already in 2014, we were considered organic producer, because, of course, that was already a protected area where no chemicals could be used.
Yeah.
Nothing that was absolutely not admitted could be used. So basically, the fact that we are there, and on the other side we have the Mediterranean Sea, this creates a place that is basically surrounded by nature.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Live,
I mean, it's beautiful. So anyone who hasn't
yeah,
traveled to Sicily yet, you should definitely go there because it's a unique area.
yeah, and
So if we talk a bit
it's an
more
area.
about, yeah. So if
Yeah.
we talk a bit more about the territory as such,
Hmm.
and the vineyard, so what is typical? I mean, you talked a bit about it, the natural reserve and the lakes and so forth. But how is the terroir? I mean, what makes the wines and the soil so special in this area?
So the coastal area and the area close to the coastal area. In total, we have a distance from the nature reserve to the seaside that is 1 kilometer. So it's not so big, not so long, and we have basically limestone that millions years ago was seafloor. So today we grow vineyards on what was seafloor millions years ago. So you dig and you normally find fossils and nutshells. So the mineral part of the soil is there. Plus, we are very close to the sea. So the influence in terms of temperature range, in terms of wind, ventilation, and of course sea breeze, this salinity is definitely a mark of all that area. And it helps a lot, especially if you work organically, if you farm organically, because you basically have no need to
Yeah.
protect so much. You have salt that works as a natural antiseptic. So, and most of all, in terms of terroir, we grow there the traditional white grapes. Grillo, first of all, that covers 40% of our estate. Cataratto and Zibibo, aka Muscat of Alexandria. So these
Yeah.
three grape varietals are so resistant and so used to that climate with thick skin and everything, and very short period for the ripening period. So they are perfect for that spot that is also the first one where harvest started in Sicily. We normally start, well, with climate change at the end of July.
Yeah. No, I mean it's you certainly feel it in the wine, this closeness to the sea with the salinity and the minerality and also the limestone soil, stone soil. So I don't know if we start talking a bit about the grapes. You said that you know Grillo and Cataratto and Civibo I think are kind of milestone grapes in your
Yeah.
production, no?
Yeah, of
Um,
course, we mostly focus on them. We also have some red wine coming from the eastern part of Sicily, such as Nero d'Avola. We do have Frappato and Nerello Mascalese that we vinify as a rosé wine, and we also have international grapes. Very few, because we started working with international grapes quite late. And we do have a Pinot Noir that we use for our traditional method sparkling wine, 36 months on the lees, Sauvignon Blanc, and Syrah, that historically speaking was grown in that area 200 years ago already. So it is something that is definitely a cousin of the local grapes.
that's true.
Basically, Grillo is the core of our
Yeah.
production, because Grillo can be definitely considered super versatile grape variety. We have different vineyards with different age, with different exposure, with some similarities in soil. But basically, with Grillo, you can go from sparkling, easy drinking, like Prosecco wine, up to easy drinking white. Grillo Riserva, that is slightly aged in oak.
Which I
Dessert
have
wine
here
and
that I
above that.
received.
Yeah, this is the Riserva, the Caire. We make a very rare thing. We are the only one making this in Sicily. We do a noble rot wine made with Grillo, because
Ah, I
in
remember that one. I think I
2005,
tasted
yeah, in 2005
it.
we discovered that was a miracle in the vineyard. And of course we discovered, for the agronomist it was a problem, because no, but you have always mold and rot in that vineyard, probably we have to uproot it. While the winemaker, that was the only one having an idea what noble rot could be, said, no, 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 you don't understand, this is a miracle, you don't know, this happens just in Sauternes and Tokai, you have to keep the vineyard and make a wine with it. And we also make we can probably call it the father of all the Grillo that you can drink today, that is devoted and dedicated to the father of Annamaria and Clara, that is an oxidative style Grillo without fortification. So it cannot be called Marsala simply because the alcohol is missing. But basically, this was the original wine made by the farmers in the area,
Yeah.
on the coast and in the countryside. That was the wine for special occasions, to give as a gift, or as a dowry to the children marrying and going away from the family. It was a strong connection in terms of winemaking and family. And the project was started by Michele Sala himself, the father of Annamaria and Clara, but unfortunately he couldn't see the end of the
Mm.
project because he passed away in 2000.
Yeah,
So
of course.
the two daughters definitely decided to bottle the project of their father, and it is a wine. It is simply bottled as white wine because you have no denomination for that kind of wine. That is a Grillo that ages for over 11 years in big barrels with a tiny bit of void on top. So basically, you have oxidation going on.
Yeah.
And
For those
it
who
is
doesn't know it,
probably
I mean, usually it's called pre-British, no?
yeah, it
As
is
a
a pre-British
Marsala.
wine. It is a
And you
pre-British,
do
and the
it
name of
with
the wine is
Perpetuo, no?
yeah, the Perpetuo is a technique in which you have a blend of different vintages. Every year you bring something new. While in the Stravecchio, that is probably a more general term, you can blend different vintages without doing this
Oh, okay,
fractional
okay,
blending that is typical of Perpetuum.
okay.
So the wine we make, Ziller
It's not
47, is not a Perpetuum, it's a
okay,
Stravecchio or a
okay,
pre-British
okay,
wine.
okay. No, I mean, I liked it a lot. I tasted it 2 years ago when we met in Sicily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and uh, and no, I liked it a lot. So I was going to write something about it, but then it kind of didn't happen. So, but after this live stream here, I might write something about it because I
And
think
you
it's
can
an
come back
interesting
to
wine.
Sicily.
Yeah. No, because I think it's very interesting, and I think it's also cool that it's being a bit revived in the last years as a more
Yeah.
part of the Sicilian history, no? And
Yeah.
it's also certainly different from a normal Marsala. It's in one sense it's easier to drink than a Marsala, but still it's also a very complex wine. But it's not as
It
well.
is
That's
definitely a
my
wine you need to explain before. So
yeah.
it's very easy to understand that wine, but you always need some explanation before because, as you said, it is a kind of a revival since the end of the 70s. It was at the beginning, it was one producer focusing on that, it is Marco De Bartoli, that started reviving the tradition. And in the middle of 2000, many young producers started bringing back this tradition that was a family tradition most of the time, and bringing back to the tables and to the wine shops these wines that
Mm.
were born as food. They were not wine. They were something the farmer at 4 a.m. in the morning stopped for his breakfast and drank that wine, a piece of cheese, and a piece of bread. So that was
Okay, okay.
economical wine. And today, of course, we can do exactly the same by pairing this wine with a lot of things. It is a very food friendly, especially with salty things, with savory thing, with fat things, because you have alcohol, you have the acidity, you have the complexity, you have the aromatic side. So it is definitely a wine that can be a different way of drinking, but you cannot deny it is a wine for connoisseur. It's not a
Yeah.
wine everyone
No,
can
that's for sure. That's
understand
for
at
sure.
the beginning. Yeah.
That's for sure. But I mean, no, I think what I meant was that you can drink it in more situational. Means Marsala is a bit more for kind of after the dinner, perhaps more either with a dessert or for meditation or
Yeah.
something. So yeah,
Yeah, especially the sweet version or the semi-dry version. Yes, definitely.
yeah. So I don't know. Do you want to go wine by wine? Should we talk about the wines that you sent me? If you have any stories, how they.
As you wish. As you wish. We can we try to let the people that are watching us imagine what you have in the glass.
So I don't know. I guess we should start with Cataratto, no?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because the
Catarato is
Vivo is a bit more particular. So I got 3 wines sent to me from Gorghi Tondi, and
yeah,
this first one is the Midor Cataratto, which is part of this special line of wines that you produce.
yeah.
So I said before that I don't know if it's worth much to do very kind of a tasting notes. I think what kind of story lies behind this wine? What kind of
So
particularities?
these Yeah, well, basically Catarato now it's something that is coming back because for decades it has been the Cinderella of Sicilian winemaking because basically the Catarato was a grape varietal able to produce big quantities. It has well, basically no flavor, no aroma, but it could make a lot of alcohol. So it was a wine perfect for selling outside of Sicily and to be blended with anything else. But at a certain moment, I think in the end of the 90s, beginning of 2000, many winemakers started focusing on quality Catarato. So reducing the yield and really letting the Catarato express itself. Catarato is definitely a white wine with a lot of acidity, with that peachy note, lots of minerality depending on the area too. That kind of acidity that could be very harsh at the beginning, but that can let the wines live for a long time. So now, depending on the areas, well, for example, for us is exactly in front of the sea. It's just a few meters from the seaside. So you are going to have the salinity plus the Mediterranean maquis plus the jasmine. Even if Catarato is not an aromatic wine, but you can really close your eyes and smell lemon and jasmine all together, and you say okay, and hearing also the waves crashing. So basically, this is a wine that speaks about Sicily. And the Maiolica that is on the label, this was already in 2017 when Maiolica were not everywhere. If you come to Sicily today, you can see Maiolica basically
Yeah.
everywhere. But that was a kind of, representation of art and tradition in Sicily. And basically, the label has been designed recovering very ancient designs of Maiolica from the 18th century. And the wine is normally called the family wine because the name Midor puts together the name of Michele and Doretta, father and mother of
Oh,
Annamaria
yeah.
and Clara. So, yeah. So this is the
So it's
family
very
wine.
connected to the family in general. I mean, to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
founders of the
This is
new
the wine
winery.
of the dreamers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Catarato, I mean, in some areas, I think you also have a bit of a chalky undertone in
Yeah.
the Grillo, no?
Yeah.
No, that's more in the Grillo,
Yeah.
perhaps, but also in Catarato sometimes.
In
Um,
Catarato, it could be, yeah, especially in the inner areas of Sicily, but
yeah, but
the
in
hour
the,
is very
yeah,
mineral, but on the limestone side, on the salty side, on the yeah, not
yeah,
chalky, but yeah, it's more
yeah,
saline
no, that's
and
true, that's
maritime.
true.
It's really Mediterranean wine.
Mm.
That
And
could
if we,
age, even if it is aged just in stainless steel on the lees for 6 months. It is really a wine that you can keep in the bottle for up to 5 years. It's something that could really last.
yeah, I mean, I remember on Etna, I tried some producer who ages the Catarato, which was really
Yeah,
interesting. So I think
yeah,
it's coming a bit more and more that you kind of keep the wines to age them a bit longer and not selling them straight away. But that's like a general trend in Italy and I guess abroad too, that you try to also see how the wine or the grapes can perform over a longer period. Um,
yeah. It always depends on the grape varietal. For example, in
no, that
Sicily,
is true. That
definitely
is true. But
Catarato
yeah,
and Grillo are able, and Caricante, of course, if we talk about Etna, are definitely able of aging for a very long time in a bottle.
yeah, no, that's true. So then if we go over to the Raya, I don't know how you pronounce it,
Raja,
Zibibbo,
Raja.
Raja,
Mhm.
which is a
Raja.
bit of the wine that Alessandro asked me to taste and say what I think. So it's 100% Sibibbo, but
Yeah,
it's a dry wine, so it's not a sweet wine.
yeah.
Uh, it's still an aromatic wine because, of course, it's the Moscato di Alessandria. So I don't know. What are your reflections on this wine and its history?
In terms of history, this has been together with Grillo, with the bottle of Keire you showed before. This was the very first white wine made out of dried Zibibo. First vintage was 2006. And in Sicily, it was not yet a moment for dried Zibibo because Zibibo was known for dessert wine, for sweet wine, for fortified sweet wines. And the one most known was definitely the Zibibo coming from the island of Pantelleria and not from the island, from the big island in Sicily. So that was a decision to make a wine like that in that moment that was definitely modern decision, so against the tradition, against all the years of the family. Raja is also a big connection with the place we are, because I told you before, we are in the middle of nature, between a nature reserve and the Mediterranean Sea, but we face Africa. When we have clear skies, we can see Pantelleria profile, and after Pantelleria, there is Tunisia. But most of all, we are in Mazara del Vallo. Mazara del Vallo is probably one of the most known melting pot you can have in Sicily, because there you have Normans, Arab, you have the Spanish tradition, you have really a lot of things, and you can still see that today just walking in the city center. You have a Casbah inside of Mazara del Vallo, and you have a Tunisian community living in the city. So you always have these two sides, these two communities, the Sicilian one and the Tunisian one, that live together because of one of the biggest business in town, that is the fishery. So Mazara del Vallo fleet was one of the biggest in town. And when you talk about Mazara del Vallo, if you love food, the first thing you think about is the red prawn of Mazara del Vallo. So the fishery fleet was probably one of the condition that attract a lot of people coming from the other side of the Mediterranean to live in the city and to work in the fishery fleet.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So Raja basically is a reference to Western princes. So Maharaja, for example, in India, because these talk about this connection between communities, culture, traditions. But basically, the Zibibo itself was brought on the coast of Sicily by the Arabian crossing the sea. So it is a great variety that have traveled a lot, that is a stranger in a new place. And this is why Raja, and this is why Zibibo. It's always nice to remember that Sicily is really a layer of many things.
Yeah, it's a melting pot of cultures and languages and origins and conquests.
Yeah, and
so that is cool.
the design of the label basically talk about the fossils and the shells that you can find in the vineyards, and the aging process of this from the vintage 2024 has been slightly changed, because we introduced the terracotta, the clay amphora in the production. So 50% of the wine is aged in clay amphora.
Which you actually feel, because the note is a bit more, how do you say, not clearer, but they're more kind of layered. Which you get more of you get more of the grape variety itself at the nose and in the mouth. I think. Well, also with the steel.
No, it's something that we tried, because when we decide to switch something, to change something, we always do some experimentation before. We are lucky to have a small part of the winery where we can try things, because we have smaller stainless steel container that can work as a laboratory for our changes and modification and experimentation. And basically the idea was to expose more the aromatic side of Zibibo through the micro oxidation process that you have while aging in a container that is not completely closed as a stainless steel container, because clay can breathe, of course, a little bit, but
Yeah.
breathe.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, I like it a lot. I think it's a very fresh and pleasant wine, as soon as well as it has all this kind of explosion of aromas in both in the nose and on the palate. So I think it's definitely a wine to explore. And I don't
Yeah.
know, should we do the last one also, which is the Riserva, which is, I guess it's a bit more complex wine.
Yeah, it's the both. Well, the three wines you are showing are all of them coming from single vineyards, and especially the Zibibbo, the Raja, and the Keire. They come from the older vineyards in the estate. Over 25 years the Raja, and over 30 years the Keire. Keire is again a reference to the Magna Graecia. So the Greek were on this side of Sicily too. And Keire was an expression to say welcome to people in ancient Latin. So
Okay.
the very first wines of the estate were really a postcard from Sicily. So a way to discover Sicily through its origins and tradition and culture. So this is why the many references to the west, to the eastern part, to Greece and all that kind of things. And Grillo is definitely a white gray with which you can make a lot of things. And in the Reserva expression, you have this small amount of wine, 35%, that ages in new French oak barrels, small barrels, that then is blended back with big amount of wine aging just in stainless steel. And it's a wine that really can age over 15 years. We still have bottles of 2006 at the winery that are from the first harvest, and they are still beautiful. So Grillo proved that can be a really
Yeah.
wonderful white wine to keep.
Mm. No, for sure it has a great longevity as a wine, the Grillo. So it would be cool to taste older vintages of this wine sometimes, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else you want to comment on these grapes? I don't know. Do you want to talk about, because I know you also do a very nice Nero d'Avola.
Yeah, the Nero d'Avola is something that you can make in very different ways, especially on the western part of Sicily, where normally Nero d'Avola is another thing. So with Nero d'Avola, you have a lot of acidity. So with Nero d'Avola, you can basically go from sparkling to easy drinking up to you know, structured and full-bodied wine. And with Nero d'Avola, we basically made, and this was one of the first sparkling wine we made at the winery in 2011. That is a rosé from Nero d'Avola. So on Western Sicily, you can show not the earthy side, but the fruity side of Nero
Yeah.
d'Avola. That is normally a little bit less complex, but easier to drink. So sparkling
No,
and
for sure,
rosé,
it's a very
or
pleasant wine. I mean, very kind of
yeah,
high drinkability and very kind of, as you say, fruit forward. So,
yeah,
uh, and it's also, I think, it shows also a bit the way that the Nero d'Avola has changed, no, in the last 20 years. Because Nero d'Avola, at least the Nero d'Avola I remember from years ago, were kind of very over oaked and heavy and a bit more
yeah. This
austere
is
to drink, while the tendency has a bit changed towards more slimmer wines, I think.
yeah. Now the idea, but also the market, also the change in taste of
Yeah,
the
no, no,
yeah,
for sure.
has
That's
completely changed. So, and this is one of the reasons why, for example, we decided to start growing frippato on the western part of Sicily. Probably many people don't know that frappato is mostly planted in the Trapani province than in
yeah,
Ragusa, that is the original area, and that three beautifully in that area with the influence of the sea. And when people taste frappato in general, but especially the one coming from the western part of Sicily, they are always amazed by the fact that, because they expect something full-bodied, rich in fruit and heavy, and they found this delicate, quite rosé wine with a lot of fruits, with a lot of aromatic side, and they they are a little bit, uh, completely amazed by this wine and this expression of Sicily that they probably do not expect. But
No,
the
that is true.
the
That is true.
trend is definitely in making wines that are more approachable in terms of alcohol, in terms of easy to drink. So we are not making any longer bold wines, because this is no more what people are looking for, and even us. So when you make a wine and you decided to make some slight change, it's not because you don't like it, that people or the market don't like it, but because you are changing too. And this is nice
Yeah.
because you evolve with what you are, what you have around. So you are not there fossilized in a place, and you go on making the same thing, but you understand, and you are the first yourself that want to change something, to be more contemporary to what is happening around you.
So, I mean, if we talk a bit about this, I mean, for sure, I mean, Gorghi Tondi is, I mean, as I see it, are very good to kind of keep up with the change in consumer taste and habits. And I guess it's a combination, as you say, between the taste of the owners and also kind of the market and its changes. So, how do you look upon on the future of wine in Sicily? I mean, when I went there this year to the Sicilian Primeur, they talked a lot about how Sicily has kind of, you know, in the last 20 years has had this great upswing, managing to combine innovation with tradition and so forth. So do you see that this is the case, or is it mainly the larger wineries who are kind of pushing more?
Of course, Sicilian Primera is the expression of the majority of
Mm,
the wineries in Sicily. And definitely we are working together on many uh, points on the agenda, because this is where the future of Sicily and Sicilian wine is going. Uh, the wine world has changed dramatically in the past few years. Consumers are more curious, more connected, more sensitive to values like authenticity, sustainability. And for us, well, talking about Gorghi Tondi, this meant evolving the communication too. So you cannot
mm.
communicate any longer as you did 20 years ago. So without changing who we are, but you can change how you communicate. We've become more digital, more open, using storytelling for to bring people closer, because people are curious, as I told you before. So
Yeah.
we want to make the language of wine. We would like that the language of wine would be more inclusive and emotional. So I don't like to make tasting notes like the old way, especially for younger generation and international audiences, because now we can say that Sicily has a stage to talk to younger
Yeah.
generation and international audiences. It was not this way 20 years ago. So we definitely have to work together, and at the same time we see the marketing not as a tool to sell more, but as a way to share the identity we have, the identity we feel to have,
Yeah.
to tell people why we do what we do and what makes our wines a true expression of Sicily. And you can tell people, because you have experienced that the expression
Yeah.
of Sicily can be many expressions of Sicily depending on the
No,
area. But
sure.
we always, and we are all talking about the same beautiful island. So you have many details, different details, but we all love foolishly Sicily.
No, for sure. I mean, I also see it when I mean, I've only gone the last 2 years to the Imprimeur, but and of course it's wineries, part of the astroenology, and the Dutch Sicily, I think.
Hmm.
But of course, it's a majority of the wineries. I don't know how many. There's like about 100 members or so. Um,
Yeah, I think they have more than 100 members now. Of course, you still have the bigger, the historical ones, and you have the smaller. And the smaller, especially the younger generations, are making the bigger, are really making disruptive choices
yeah,
sometimes. But this is the expression of who we really are. It's a very contemporary expression of the Sicilian wine world.
but I
And
also think it
yeah,
was interesting to see that this year. I mean, some wineries that have been more kind of considered more kind of radical before were not part of the imprimeur, such as Ariano Kipinti and a couple of others I
yeah,
saw that were, which I think is a good way that that you want to be part of a larger discourse, of wine. You don't want to be singled out only as a natural wine producer or as a whatever, which I think is also
yeah,
good
this is.
for the rest of the producers, that you
Mm,
have kind of a variety of,
absolutely. Having many voices is
yeah,
probably the best, and not having a voice that speaks loud but stay outside. It, in the specific case of Arianna Kipinti, Arianna basically joined Assovini Sicilia quite long ago, but now there are many other small producers that stayed on the side for many years, considering probably that that was not yet the moment. So
yeah.
I don't like to see the how people react or why wineries decided to stay in or stay out in a. I mean, it's a decision. It's a personal decision. It's a moment. Is a. It could be a commercial decision. It could be a growing decision. Okay, I've been all alone for 10 years, 15 years, and now probably it is time to start sharing what I am with other people with different experiences. So in Assovini, Sicilia, for example, we have many, many different experiences. We are not the same. Donna Fugata, Tasca dal Merita, and Planeta cannot be Gorghi Tondi and vice versa. So we have completely different stories. And it's beautiful like this. So you don't have to feel smaller or, ignored because you are a smaller one or you have a shorter story of your family. So
No,
it's
for sure. No, I think I meant, I think she was, of course, as you say, she's been part of Assovini for a long time. Sorry, not Assoenology,
yeah,
Assovini.
yeah.
I
Don't
think it was
worry,
one
you
of
are
the
not
first.
the only one.
I think it was one of the first years that she was more actively presenting herself at the Imprimeur. I think I hadn't seen her last year. I think so.
Yeah, it was
Um,
the Sicilian Premier, Vinitaly. So there were a lot of things together in
yeah.
1 year.
So, for anyone who wants to go to Sicily and experience the del Valle, Gorghi
Mhm.
Tondi, and what kind of experiences do you offer? I mean, how do you combine wine and something more today when people are more interested in something beyond wine and not only to do tasting notes and
Well, we are already beyond wine because basically our experiences at the wineries always start with a walk inside of the nature reserve. So we have nature
that is
in the
true.
estate, so why not? This is the first thing, and of course, we offer both tasting with or without food, with a light lunch. So the classical things that many other wineries offers is something that you can find on the website and you can make a reservation. We do these experiences all year round, except some months such as November when we are going to be closed with the wine tourism experiences because it's
Yeah,
the month where we don't have so many people asking for an experience. But basically, coming to Mazara del Vallo means, especially in the nice period, so from the middle of May up to now, the middle of October, you can experience a lot of things, both archaeology. We have two archaeological park very close to us. One is Selinunte, that is the one of the biggest
which is
archaeological park in
amazing.
Europe, very few kilometers from us. And we do have Cave di Cusa, that is the place where the column for the Selinunte temples were carved. So basically, we are in the pizza. Um, can you hear me? Because I
Yeah,
heard
yeah. I
some.
think I hear you again. There was some friction.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I can hear you again. So basically, we have this. We have the gastronomy. So from fish to Arabian recipes such as the couscous, the hummus, all that kind of recipes that comes from Maghreb. We do have beautiful beaches and areas, natural areas where you can really relax and take your time. So it is an area to discover, not yet on the most well-known path of Sicily. But it is nice, and you have a motorway reaching directly Mazara del Vallo from Palermo, so it's very easy to reach, not complicated to reach. Even the winery that is very easy to find on Google Maps, so not in the middle of nowhere.
So for people, are there kind of also hospitality to stay over close to where you are, or even in the winery? Do you have
We
room?
are, yes, we do have some rooms at the estate, but it's for internal use only.
Okay.
But we can suggest definitely we have some collaboration with bed and breakfast or hotels close to us.
Mm.
We are 10 minutes by car from Mazzara del Vallo, so we are very, very well positioned in terms
Mm.
of, okay, I want to spend the day in Mazzara del Vallo doing certain activities and then come to you for a tasting and then go to the beach. So 2 days in Mazzara del Vallo, we would have a nice program to explore the area.
Okay, so there was a question if you have any local particular dish that you would pair with the white wines and especially the dried zibibbo.
Well, definitely the raw red prawn would be the king for the pairing because raw fish and red prawn in particular is the one going with the dried zibibbo, because the red prawn is fat normally,
Yeah.
with this quite sweetness and aromaticity. It's very aromatic, and it is perfectly combined with the zibibbo that is aromatic with a nice acidity contrasting the fat, and that salinity touch at the end that really clean your mouth after you combine them. So it would be nice
Okay, so we all have to go to Mazzara del Vallo to taste the zibibbo with with the
with red
prawn.
prawns.
Yes. So if you would, I don't know if you want to say it, but do you have a white wine that is your favorite, or any wine of the Gorghi Tondo that is
For
particularly close
me,
to your heart?
yeah, probably the Ziller, the oxidative style one, because I really love that kind of tradition, and well, I'm a bit out of normality, or I really like to pair food with it. So I could basically have a dinner or a lunch starting from the aperitif and ending with the pre-dessert, because these cannot be considered as a dessert wine, but you can basically have the aperitivo, you can have the main dish, both made of pasta or meat or fish, and then going to something not completely sweet, but for example with cheese or something like that, it could work beautifully. I don't like dessert wine, so that one that is slightly sweet, you have 20 grams per liter of sugar,
Yeah.
it's something that could go well with a lot of things.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for this almost hour-long talk about Gorghi Tondi and their wines. I
Thank
still
you
have
for
to
that.
visit your estate, and I hope. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add about about the estate or about the owners, or anything you want people to know?
Well, we are a big family, so you would be very well welcome to join us for lunch, for a tasting, for a walk. Here we are.
Well, that sounds cool. So I don't know. We all have to make a group and go to Sicily next year or something to
Yeah.
visit Gorghi Tondi and other wineries. Thanks again for being here and for taking the time to chat about your wines and your estate. And to the rest of you, I will try and be back now a bit more consistently with these kind of live streams again when I feel a bit better. But I can't say the exact. It's not going to be every week. It's going to be, I think, if I manage once or twice a month. So. I will soon tell you more about the next. Well, okay, we have a live stream next week actually with all that wine that I have together with, which is a new Substack publication with Susanna Gold, and we will talk to Valentino Valentini from Porcali in Montefalco. So for anyone who is interested in Sagrantino and Umbria, you should definitely tune in next. I think it's the 15th. The 15th at 5 p.m. European time. So thanks again, Marilena. Just stay on for another minute while I close the.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Anne-Marie wanted to say thank you, and that it was
Thank
lovely
you,
to hear.
Anne-Marie, for watching all the show.
So Anne-Marie is a virtual assistant in the US. She's doing great things. So if you want to go and follow her newsletter, you should definitely do so to learn
I
more
will
about
definitely do.
about also how to manage newsletters and everything. So thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you, Marilena. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, and see you soon for another live stream. Ciao.
Ciao. Have a good night.